Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered. For those who are new, this is basically a vlog recap series where I share with you some recent experiences. And this video is rather special because just before the end of 2024, I reached a small but noteworthy milestone of 1,000 subscribers. And I know I'm not big by any means at this point, but reaching this milestone helped me feel a bit more proud of what I do. I do this on the side, on top of a full-time job, and it kind of gives me hope that there are people out there that do see value in the content that I produce. I'm simply here to just share my love for coffee and music, and I'm glad to see that some of you have got some inspiration from what I have to say. It brings me joy to read some of your comments. I've learned a lot from some of you, and I just want to shout you all out for those who are subscribed or currently watching this video. When I came back from my holidays, I came back to a nice surprise from my girlfriend, really acknowledging my hard work and dedication to this channel, despite being so small at this point. So shout out to her and shout out to all of you for the support thus far. Let me know in the comments what you particularly enjoy about my content and what you'd like to see in the future maybe. The second reason why this video is rather special is because as I mentioned before, I did come back from my holidays and I visited my hometown in Canada, in addition to a bunch of other places which I will highlight in this video. Discovered a bunch of new record stores and coffee shops that I'm going to share with you. So yeah, buckle your seatbelts and get ready for this ride because I have a lot to share. I'll probably break down each location in another video. So for today, I'll just share with you my personal highlights and a little taste of my record haul from my visits. The first destination is going to be my hometown of St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. That's where I was born and raised. It's not a huge city, it's got about 130,000 people. But upon this visit, I recently picked up this record collecting hobby, got a bit more into specialty coffee. And so the first place I want to shout out is Niagara Records, located on St. Paul Street in downtown St. Catharines. This place has been around for a while, but I was pretty fascinated with the location. It's probably my favorite place to get used records. I went there with a childhood friend and it was such a nice, wholesome experience collecting records. You know, we started off playing basketball together and that's how we first connected. And now that we're grown up, we're collecting records, which is pretty cool. This place has a lot of really good records for pretty fair prices, so definitely check it out if you are in the area. And the record I want to shout out from this visit is After the Gold Rush by Neil Young, one of his classic albums. I picked up Harvest, but this one is a must listen if you are into folk rock. He is, you know, one of the best singer-songwriters of all time. This one you get a little bit of rock, blues, folk, great eclectic mix of rock genres. This is definitely a must listen if you are into that music, and as a Canadian, also proud that Neil Young has stood the test of time up to this point. And the coffee shop I want to highlight was started by someone I went to high school and university with. It's called Wandering Spirits, also located in downtown St. Catharines. It's a coffee shop by day and cocktail bar at night. And I visited for the first time to do a little bit of work, and I can confirm that the Wi-Fi is really strong. The staff is very friendly and they have a great mix of drinks and some snacks. A lot of space as well. There's some nice cozy seating at the front and a nice spacious layout in the back. So definitely check it out if you are in St. Catharines and support this amazing local business. Another place I visited was the beautiful city of Toronto, the capital of Ontario, Drake's hometown. This visit was quite exciting. I wish I had a bit more time, but I did manage to visit a few cool places. The record shop I want to highlight today is Sonic Boom. This is definitely a must visit for any record collector. They have a great selection of used records, new and reissues, a lot of memorabilia, a decent selection of rarities and international music, which I found quite interesting. And it's quite central, so if you're only there for a short period of time, definitely check this one out. And the record I want to highlight from there is Echoes of Silence by The Weeknd. This is the third part of his trilogy, which kind of put him on the map. I've got House of Balloons in my collection already, but Echoes of Silence is my personal favorite. Some highlight tracks that I like are Montreal, Dirty Diana, Same Old Song, and Echoes of Silence. I decided to get this there just because if I were to get it here in Europe, it's much more expensive. So I decided while I'm in Canada, why not get it for a cheaper price? And so got my hands on it. The coffee shop I want to highlight is Rooms on 17 Baldwin. So if you look up this Rooms coffee shop on Google Maps, there will be a few locations. The concept of Rooms around Toronto is basically the Japanese listening bar listening cafe concept, and as a music lover, as a coffee lover, this was right up my alley. So I highly recommend this if you are into coffee or records, because they nail this perfectly. They've got a fantastic sound system. They even have a bar where they prepare the pour overs as well as play the records. I had the opportunity to briefly chat with the owner of all of the room's locations, and I asked him about his inspiration, and he simply said he just wanted to transport this love for music and coffee and this concept of Japanese listening bars in Toronto, and he did that perfectly. You got a nice mix of people in the cafe, you got a nice spot to work in a bit more quietly in the back, and a decent amount of spacing to have a good chat with a nice cup of coffee. They even roast their own beans, and the barista who served me is from Japan, and we struck up a nice conversation, explained a bit of his process. I can only say good things about this coffee shop, so definitely check out this place as well as any of the other rooms locations within Toronto. I also had the opportunity to visit my brother, who is currently living in Detroit, Michigan. Detroit has to be one of the best music cities in the world, in my personal opinion. It's the birthplace of that Motown sound, where legends like Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, The Temptations, Smokey Robinson, just to name a few, have recorded some of the best music of all time. So definitely add that to your bucket list if you haven't visited. And so speaking of the Motown Museum, I did have the opportunity to go visit with my brother. Unfortunately, we couldn't record within the museum. Even though I'm rather familiar with soul music, I am now listening to these artists with a much different appreciation. It was really a grassroots beginning, and just to see where they came from to where they are now. They've touched people from all corners of the world. Their music is timeless, so I can only say good things about this museum. They did have a small gift shop as well, where they did have a few records. So The Temptations are one of the most well-known groups coming out of Detroit, and this was their reunion record. It's quite the accomplishment to get them all together to reunite. A few of them kind of spiraled into not so good circumstances, so having them reunite on tour and for them to record an album was quite the feat. So this was a pretty nice pickup. Bit pricey, I have to say. I found this on Discogs and it's much cheaper on there, so didn't really get a good deal on this, but I got one from the Motown Museum, as you can see, so I think that's quite special. But yeah, anything from the Temptations, amazing. And it was at the Motown Museum where I learned about a group called Rare Earth. And so Rare Earth, in a nutshell, is the first white group to be signed to Motown Records. They're mostly known for covering some Motown artists' songs, but they do have their own sound. They are a rock band, but they do have a bit of soul to them, in my opinion. So if you are mostly into soul music and not particularly into rock, I think they're a great transition band. You get that prog rock kind of vibe from them, and you have that familiarity with their covered songs. So definitely check them out. I picked up their record Ecology at People's Records. People's Records is definitely a highlight in Detroit. They've got a massive selection of soul music. I think I've never seen that many singles at once. They have these like boxes filled with singles, and you can spend hours at this record shop. They've got a lot of good stuff. It's pretty much all used and priced rather fairly. You can definitely come out with a lot of records and not have to worry about breaking the bank. So I decided to get this record because as I was discovering their music, I discovered that their song, I Know I'm Losing You, is the sample for Kanye's Fade on The Life of Pablo. That track in itself has a lot of groove to it, but yeah, front to back, this is a great listen. It's also not on Spotify, so this is one of the few ways you can actually listen to this album. I also got another record of theirs as well, so definitely check out Rare Earth if you are unfamiliar with them. And if you want any other Motown artists, People's Records is definitely the go-to. You won't leave empty-handed, I can assure you that. And then on our way back to Ontario, we drove through Cleveland to spend a day there, and the highlight by far was the visit to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum. And I have to say, the building itself is very, very impressive. It's shaped as a pyramid, and upon our visit, there were a few exhibitions such as the dedication to 50 years of hip-hop, an homage to 1984, which is arguably the best year for pop music, with releases from Prince, Bruce Springsteen, Sade, just to name a few. And on the top floor, there was an exhibition dedicated to Bon Jovi. So again here, if you are a music lover, this has got to be on your list. You need to visit this place before you die, because it's not just an homage to rock and roll as a genre, but music in general. So no matter what you're into, you will find something to your liking. Because we were in Cleveland, I was looking for a record from a Cleveland native, and that happens to be Screaming Jay Hawkins. This is a compilation from some singles between 1955 and 1959. One of them being I Put a Spell on You, which is his most well-known track. For those who are unfamiliar, Screaming Jay Hawkins is quite the character. His music is rather polarizing just because, in my opinion, he has these interesting ad-libs, if you can call them, within his tracks. A little bit of screaming, a little bit of random noises, but he does add a lot of flair to his own music. But yeah, he's a fantastic vocalist with a very unique style. If you are into soul music and haven't heard of him, definitely check him out. And the coffee shop we visited while we were in Cleveland is called Leco. They brew excellent coffee. They've got a lot of space for those who want to work on their laptop. Great location as well, and a very, very friendly staff. So if you want to get some work done, if you want to get good coffee, if you want a nice, relaxed atmosphere, Leco is the coffee shop to visit. And if that wasn't enough traveling, my family and I spent about a week in the Dominican Republic to enjoy some well-deserved sun and relaxation. We spent some nights in Punta Cana, but we started off our trip in the capital of Santo Domingo, which positively surprised me when it came to their music and coffee scene. The record shop I want to shout out is Groove.do, which is one of, I believe, maybe 2 or 3 record shops in the whole city. I did a bit of research on the website to find some Dominican music, and yeah, I came back with a few records. Upon my visit, I sent the owner my list. He spoke really good English and helped me find the records. He even recognized that one was rather dusty, so he cleaned it in his machine, played it through to make sure that I can actually listen to it. So shout out to the owner for being so courteous. And the record I came home with that I want to shout out is this Jazzeando El Cancionero Dominicano Volume 4, which is essentially a compilation of jazz renditions from well-known Dominican songs by a group called Retro Jazz. This was recently released, so this is rather new and also exclusive to Groove.do at the date of this recording. If you are into modern jazz or Dominican music in general, this is a great record to listen to, and one that was recommended by the owner. They're also on Spotify if you want to listen first. But yeah, overall I had a fantastic experience at Groove.do, so definitely make your way there if you are in the area. And when it came to the coffee scene, I realized that they do have a lot of US influence, so you will have a lot of espresso-based drinks, a lot of sweetness in the coffee, but one in particular stood out to me, and that was Casa Barista, which is focused on sourcing only local coffee that's produced within the Dominican Republic. They even served a geisha, which I didn't even know they had in the Dominican Republic, so that's what I had. I think my brother had a latte, which he also really enjoyed. And the whole atmosphere within the cafe was fantastic. A lot of place to sit and enjoy nice coffee, little nooks with some coffee preparation methods on the side, which is a nice touch. Overall, I really enjoyed the experience there, and I even took away a bag of beans of the coffee that I tried, which I haven't yet opened because I have a lot of beans to go through. But if you are into specialty coffee, definitely check them out. Just make sure you brush up on your Spanish a little bit and you'll be fine. Speaking of coffee, before I end this video, I'd like to shout out the coffee behind me, coming from Hatch Coffee Roasters in Canada. In my humble opinion, they are the best coffee roaster in all of Canada. They were even ranked among the top roasters in the world by a pretty well-known publication. And this coffee in particular, I tried at a place called Grey Nation in Toronto, and they serve beans exclusively from Hatch. This happens to be a decaf coffee, and at the date of this recording, this is the best decaf coffee I've ever tried. So the beans come from the farm El Placer in Colombia, and it's a strawberry co-fermented bean with notes of obviously strawberry, a little bit of wine, a little bit of creaminess reminiscent of milk tea. So this is an excellent coffee if you do like a bit of fruitiness but don't want to add more caffeine to your system. So definitely check out Hatch, definitely check out this roast, and I assure you, you will not be disappointed. Alright, so that wraps up this episode of Unfiltered. It was a lot, so I hope you took down some notes or learned a thing or two, and yeah, hopefully you can add something to your next trip. So I was just scratching the surface, and I'm looking forward to breaking down each location in more detail to give you a bit more insight, so stay tuned for those videos. And if you're new to this channel, thank you for making it this far. If you did find value in that video, I'd appreciate a like, perhaps a subscribe if you want to see more. And as always, I'd like to remind you to slow down, take a sip, and drop the needle. See you next time. Peace.